We are fortunate in Canton Township. We are committed to making sure that everyone in the community has access to public green space and great trees and canopy. This past August, we went through a devastating tornado and flood that damaged a lot of things in the community, including a lot of trees that were located in Heritage Park, Griffin Park, and some other spots in the area. And we applied for a grant that we were awarded through the U.S. Department of Agriculture's U.S. Forestry Service. And that allowed us to put 104 new trees in Heritage Park and Griffin Park to help reestablish some of the lost tree canopy that we unfortunately lost during the past August. And we chose to put 80% of those trees in Heritage Park because that had the most damage, and 20% of those trees in Griffin Park. And fortunately, through the 104 trees that we put in the parks, we were able to bring in a few new species that we didn't previously have in the parks. So right behind me here at the Veterans Memorials, we have columnar oak trees, which are really strong and sturdy trees that we hope will grow big and large and be here for many generations to come. We also added in some Katsura trees, some cucumber magnolia trees, as well as a few other species that our residents might not have seen before in the area, but are really sturdy and will do well in this environment. Also, we were fortunate to put in a whole bunch of new trees over at the Summit on the Park in the parking lots. We lost a lot of trees over there during the storm, and we were able to put some new maple trees and some other trees that are usually pretty salt tolerant for the parking lots and the environment that we have here in Michigan. And while they might look small, it won't take very long and we'll actually see a lot of good canopy coming in and cool down that parking lot space for people that visit the Summit on the Park. Then over at Preservation Park, we were also awarded a Michigan Department of Agriculture specialty crop fruit grant that allowed us to put in 18 new fruit trees over there, some different pear and apple trees, and we put in about 28 blueberry bushes, 2 different species of blueberry bushes. And our goal through that grant that we put the trees over at Preservation Park was to help not only just put tree canopy in that area, but also have some quality fruit-bearing species that in the future, once they start bearing fruit, we'll be able to share that fruit with those in need in our community, as well as use it for different types of programs. So throughout the summer at the farmers market, there will be some kids programs and some cooking demonstrations that allow people to try the different types of fruit that they'll get to experience in the future, as well as learn more about it, because part of that grant was informing people about what things can grow in Michigan. And you can not only grow them here in our parks, but you could also grow them on your own property in this region, and you most likely be successful in thriving in this area. So those programs that we were able to put in, the bushes and the trees in Preservation Park, that was completely grant funded. And we were really appreciative to the Michigan Department of Agriculture specialty block fruit grant that we received so that we could make sure that we have these amenities for our residents and neighbors that come to visit our parks. One of our commitments is making sure that all of our residents have a lot of access to tree canopy. It's really important, not just for cooling down the environment, but also just for our overall health. We feel better. There's studies that have shown that you naturally feel better when you're out in nature. So we want to make sure that everybody in the community has access to trees. So as we put in new parks and new spaces and renovate spaces, we are going to continue to add more trees to each space throughout the community. And one of the cool things that you'll see as these new tree groves go in is we're putting name tags next to each cluster of trees. So if you look at a tree and you're like, what is that? That looks really unique. In each cluster, there'll be a little metal name tag down at the bottom that'll tell you what those trees are. And so each new set that goes in will receive those. So you can start to explore your parks and learn a lot more about what species are growing there. And it might be something that you want to grow in your own area as well. But we are committed to adding more trees in each space because everybody deserves a spot that they can picnic under or a spot that they can read a good book at. We're starting here in Heritage Park and Griffin Park and Preservation Park, but we're definitely going to continue to expand throughout the community as we renovate spaces.